Bam Bam Bigelow came in, and I could tell he was an arrogant fat guy. You know, like, man, you know, he had that thing. And I'm just not impressed. I've seen too many of it. I've seen it all. To me, he was an ugly fat man. Okay? And
nobody likes fat people.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's that. It's that I don't think he had much to be. I mean, Rene Dupree at least had something to be arrogant about.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow does not have much to be arrogant about. And I hate to speak ill of the dead, but everybody's dead. So, I mean, if you just want to talk about the wrestlers that I know that are alive, we don't, you know, what are we going to do for the rest of the time? You know, because there's only like 3 of us left. So, Bam Bam never took advantage of me. It's just that he never thanked me. He was horrible. He sucked. I mean, he was... if I was a wrestling fan, there's not a way in the world I would pay money to see a guy like that. I would pay to see a lot of the guys. I mean, some of the guys had real talent. And so then we're in Boston, Massachusetts, and you can bleep this out later, but he was so proud of himself, he says, "Hey, I just got a blowjob from an arena rat." Well, that offends me on many levels. But whenever I've been with an arena rat, I've always done my best to try to make them feel better about themselves than before they met me. And I would never go into a dressing room bragging about some sexual favor that I received. Because, in my opinion, a person's reputation is all they have, and we should honor that. And if somebody, it's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room. Anyway, he comes in bragging about some blowjob he got from an arena rat. So he said it in front of about 15 people in the Boston Garden. So I stood up and I said, "Did you keep the receipt?" And he said, "What? What do you mean?" I said, "You are a very ugly man. If you got a blowjob from an arena rat, I imagine you must have paid her. I hope you paid her something." He says, "Why, what do you want?" And he bowed up and ready to fight me. And I said, "Vince McMahon isn't here to see that I lose this time, fat bastard. And by the way, say goodbye to your knees." And he sat down, and the boys all laughed at him because by that time he had alienated everybody in the place. And Andre the Giant in Madison Square Garden beat the hell out of him. And as usual, the fans didn't understand it, so they all went for popcorn. In other words, who really got beat was the fans that expected a great match and instead saw
a shoot fight can be more boring than a wrestling match a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah, shoot fights are always boring, aren't they? Unless they're exciting, which are very rare.
The highlight reels are exciting.
You know, I mean, the fans didn't pay to see that. They didn't understand that. They went to the popcorn, you know, and it was like, they even booed it, boo. But it was basically Andre just covering Bam Bam like a blanket, and that's alliteration for those of you that are into it. Anyway, don't know what it means, look it up. Okay.
Which I don't.
Okay. Bam Bam Blanket. 3 words that start with B.
I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a video that someone's posted on the internet of Bam Bam Bigelow before he died. He said that he had his first match with you and he kicked you and you shit yourself, and that doesn't seem like something that would have happened, so I'm just wondering what your response would be to that video.
No, that never happened. You know, I don't, honestly. He said he had his first match with me.
No, he said you had your very first match with him, and it stuck out to him because he claimed that occurred.
Now, this is what's weird. I've heard that The Undertaker said that I had shit my pants in a match with him. The thing is, we'll make this clear, I've never shit my pants with anyone.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember ever working with Bam Bam. I mean, I worked with him quite, a few times in the WWF, but as far as like when we first started, I was doing that Lord Humongous character down in Memphis, and he was Bam Bam Bigelow, but we never even worked in the same
Yeah, he's said some other things in shoot interviews that weren't true, that I know for a fact aren't true, so I figured that was some jealousy, perhaps.
You know, I wouldn't think it's jealousy. I'll tell you a thing about Bam Bam, and I've always said this about Bam Bam, and I'll still say it today. I think he was one of the smarter, you know, as far as psychology in the ring, he was one of the best there was, as far as like being in a different town, know how to react or get the people to react. A funny story about Bam Bam, you know, when I was on the whipping post in the WWF at one time, you know, it's like, you know, you're getting beaten. This is when I was having to work with, people I didn't think I should be putting over. But again, I had left Vince. I'd gotten to the deal with Arn. Really didn't have a place to go. So I had to sort of put up with some things. And then they put this stigma on me that I couldn't take a turnbuckle. And this goes to Carl Willett, Pierre. We were in England, and it said that I couldn't take a turnbuckle. So, and the thing was, truly, I wasn't taking great turnbuckles anymore because I wasn't a type of person that took turnbuckles. And from that stint where I was Lord Humongous up to that point, I just really, nobody was sending me in taking great turnbuckles. So Carl went over with me at the Royal Albert Hall there in England, showed me how to take one correctly, and it was just coincidentally, it was in a match against Bigelow. So we did, I'll never forget the spot. It was, I took the turnbuckle, came out of it, and then he gave me a clothesline over the floor, and then we had that tour, the best matches on the card every night, and that stigma was lifted and taken off of me because of that right there, you know. And that's how we hear about how things like that can get put on a person, and like the softball thing was with me, but no, not anything like that with Big Scotty. We always had good matches together. He always worked real hard with me. We worked again. I like working with him. People like Vader, they were just workhorses, and when you got an opportunity to work with a workhorse, made it fun.
As far as your famous fight against Bam Bam Bigelow, who set that up? Were you at all intimidated at all, or did you think that was just going to be easy because he was a pro wrestler with no MMA fighting experience jumping in there against you?
You know, I came from no experience. And look how I did. Just because of things like, you know, being athletic, being more like an alpha male who attacks. So, and anytime somebody fights against you in a fight, they have a chance. So if you go out there thinking, oh, this guy's nothing, you're going to get surprised. You know, so I don't think that way. When I see an opponent, I look at what are the benefits of that physique. You know, that's what we learned in the first UFC, is not knowing who we were going to fight. We had to size people up. We had to look at movements. We had to look at, you know, just little things like that, body language, to get a clue of how what tendencies or what capability the person would have. So Bam Bam was big. He was a big guy. There's no way I could get my arms around his waist. You know, he was, I don't want to say chubby. He was like a refrigerator, just. So, and yeah, I was a little intimidated because I watched wrestling, and his reputation in wrestling is he can take hits. He's athletic. He does some pretty acrobatic. He does some acrobatic moves for such a big guy. So I didn't take him lightly, but I was a little bit intimidated. But every fight, I don't want to say intimidated. I don't want to say nervous, but I'm aware, you know, because I'm an offensive, defensive person. So I'm aware of the potential out there. I'm going to go out there and fight him. So how you feel about him is irrelevant. You're going to get a game plan, and you're going to try to stick to that game plan. And you're going to try to keep it as non-personal as you can, because that's when you're more fluid. That's when you're able to relax more and use a lot more of your abilities than if you were just blinded by your rage or by, you know, too aggressive.
There was a huge crowd for that one too. Were you guys the main event, or was there some other big drawing fights on that card?
There was some drawing names on that card, but we were the headliner fight, you know, and it was Tokyo Dome. Tokyo Dome holds, I don't know, like the Coliseum packed. and it's live. It's on live TV there as well. So that shows you at what kind of popularity that was out in Japan. That one was put on by a private promoter who put up his money to promote it. And so it wasn't no organization. So some of the fights it was pretty interesting. Some were karate fights. Some were judo fights. Some were, and 4 of them were MMA. And I believe Severn fought, Mark Hall fought, Don Fry on that. Mark Hall fought Don Fry on that. It was a great fight. Hickson fought, no, Hickson didn't fight with Shamrock, excuse me, on the Bam Bam. Yeah, so that was a good experience.
Apparently, Bam Bam allegedly claimed it was a work. Is that just him trying to save face?
I don't see him saying that. He was mad after the fight when I tried to say good fight. He was pissed off. If you watch the camera, you know, the Japanese film stuff afterwards, and they try to film him, he was pissed off. Get that camera out of my face. He had a knot. That knot was not no work. If you watch me hitting him, and I'm hitting him, you can hold the fence. So I'm holding the fence, and I'm throwing down my blows, but I'm not just throwing them. I'm throwing them like my hips, my weight coming down. I'm landing those on his temple. His head's going. I mean, you can feel when you hit somebody, and it's hitting them flush. So I was catching them flush. So anybody wants to say that was a work, watch it. Tell me that's a work. And then I got him with how deep that choke was. It was deep. So, and the fluidness from the fight, you can have fake fights, but there'll be times in it, something cheesy might give it away. You know, they also say my fight with Sakuraba was a work because, like I said, the one with the Bam Bam, they threw some other kind of fights in there. There was a couple of shoot fights, you know, just like what Shamrock did, Pancreas. That's works. Not all of them, but there's works in there. So, you know, as far as I know, at the level of MMA, you know, or excuse me, of no hold bars, anything that was a no hold bar fight, there was no fake ones. You can't fake that. Now, if it was rules involved, you can fake it. There's all kinds of things that can happen. So, you know, and Sakuraba, when I fought him, he said, no fist to the face. And, you know, most of my career was in Japan. But I know the Japanese, they try to make the fight go a certain rhythm the whole fight. They're gearing it to a gear to keep it that same rhythm the whole fight. Now, if I get on him to throw a punch and I can't punch his face, oh man, he can really stall, but not if I can headbutt. So I used to always make sure that if they wanted to come up with rules, that I would have some counter that would make it fair in certain situations like stalling. You know, in that fight, Sakuraba did try to stall. He was on his all fours. I was on behind him, and I was about to throw a punch. And right before I threw that punch, my hand opens up, and I cover his mouth. That instant was the instant that I became instantly illuminated, aware. I was no longer the same fighter. I now had the ability to think and not do things during a fight in actual, not just off reaction, off instinct. That was my first fight that everything came together.
In your opinion, was Bam Bam tough?
Bam Bam is tough, was tough. God bless his soul. You know, he could take hits. I was hitting him solid. Like I said, solid. I had the fence. I pulled myself down as I'm throwing the punch, and I'm twisting my hips. So I'm coming down with a lot of just impact, and I was catching his temple. If you watch that tape, you'll hear my hand hit his head like a piece of meat, and you'll see his head. He's such a big guy, but his head's every time I hit him. And it was, if that was a work, how was that timing so good, man? We needed some special effects from Hollywood then to be a fake fight. Yeah, he was tough. Just sometimes in fights, this is what makes fights that X factor. You never know what's going to happen in a fight. That's why I don't take nobody light. You could step the wrong way, get caught by a knee, fall on your butt, get up, go towards the fighter, and it's stopped. So that's what makes, you know, if you care about your fights or your record or who you are, That's what gives you that nervousness, that edge that I feed off that edge. I ride that edge because that keeps me alert. It lets me be aware. Like I said, I'm more aware and more conscious when there's a little bit of potential of danger there than if it was just happy-go-lucky.
To me, like when you're building yourself up, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong here, when you beat Bigelow, or you have that match with Bam Bam Bigelow, I feel like that is what really, like, okay, RVD's awesome, I love this guy, but when you beat Bam Bam, then it's like, oh shit, like, okay, he's a main eventer now, like, you know what I mean? Like that brings you to another level to me, because to me, Bam Bam, I love Bam Bam. I think he helped Taz, I think he helped Shane immensely, but I always felt like, wow, when you beat him, it's like, wow, holy crap, he beat Bam Bam.
Yeah, no question about it. That match goes down as definitely one of the very important moments in my career, and I didn't understand it. Paul knew it was going to happen. I feel like I've said this many times, but that the next night after I beat Bam Bam, I was wrestling Mikey Whipwreck at the Queen's Elks Lodge, and I had this idea because I was always trying to outdo myself. I want to crotch Mikey on the guardrail, but come across the whole walkway, the entranceway, and springboard off the other guardrail and clear the whole entranceway and kick him. When he, what do you think, Paul? You think that'd be? He goes, it doesn't matter what you do. These people are gonna love you. And I really, I was like, whatever, weirdo. I had no idea what he was getting at, but total different energy immediately from the crowd, and it never went back. So they definitely held me in a higher esteem instantly after that Bam Bam Bigelow match, no question about it. And the whole vibration of my relationship with the crowd was just like boom on a much higher level. So that was great. I loved it. I loved wrestling Bam Bam.
Yeah, he was such a key part because he really got Taz to the point where he got Taz super over, and even Shane. When Shane, he's over, he's a big name, but when he beat Bigelow, it's like, oh shit! I don't know, you take more notice when you beat a guy like Bam Bam with a name, and even like Terry Funk, like those type of guys, you really establish yourself.
Yeah, I guess so. And as far as just extreme hardcore wrestling goes, Bam Bam was great at that. He was old school, so. If I ever really caught him with something, say I whack him with a chair and it hits him maybe harder than I intended or whatever. I always know when the receipt's coming, and it's like this mutual respectful thing because that's the way that I got brought in. It's like, okay, here it comes, and whether it's just a bam, it could be a really stiff clothesline on the floor. You can pick a table up and throw it at me or whatever. Is one move, bam, and then it's over. It's like tat for tat, nothing personal. It makes the match better. It brings the competition up. And it looks good, and it's I love that.
I was just doing the Bam Bam Bigelow, the dark side.
Yeah.
But I gave him pretty much all positive stuff, as you can imagine. Yeah. But I knew Bam Bam since he was like 16. I knew of him originally back when he was wrestling for Neptune High School. And I mean, he was the beast from the East back then. And there were kids that literally were supposed to face him and literally forfeited. Understandable though, right? I can remember Bammer. I met him in the Quack Quack, which was between Stone Pony and what's the name of that club that's on the corner there, like right up from the Stone Pony? What's the name of that place now?
Is it a House of Independence? Is that what it is now, or is
it's like a restaurant club type thing? It's a pretty big place, or whatever it is. In between those two bars was a little little shot and beer. One small bar, and if you were walking to the Pony, or you're walking from the Pony to Xanadu, in the early '80s, you stopped at the Quack Quack and had a shot. And that's where I ran into Bam Bam Bigelow. And he was probably just 18 at the time. And, but I think by that time, he was already legendary. I think he was running with a Breed, one of the biker gang at that time. And I can remember, we became buddies. at the Quack Quack, and then he came in my club, which was a pretty classy club at the time, and he walked in with a few of the other biker members, and I came sliding up behind and put my arm around him. I was like, "Hey, Bammer, no trouble in here tonight, right?" He goes, "Oh, come on, Paige, I wouldn't do that to you." And that was the night that we really started talking about wrestling. And it turned out, of course, I mean, he looked like a wrestler, we talked about our love of wrestling, and I told him that I had just tried it. And I'd spent like 3 months, training with a guy named Tito Torres. Back to the story with Bam Bam, though. This night we about that, and I told Bammer about how I tried, and then later, years later, wasn't that far later, I was flicking the channels, and somehow WCCW came up, Texas, where he was playing a Russian. And I'm like, holy shit, Bam Bam's doing it. Oh my God. And it wasn't long before he was working with Hulk and getting the monster push. And I was like, oh my God. And we had lost touch with phone numbers and shit by that time. But he found me when he saw that I was wrestling. He found out my number and he called me and he was like, dude, you're doing it again. And then later, I would bring him into WCW when I was one of the top guys to when we did the triad tag. So it was pretty magical getting to be one of your Jersey boys and talking shit about it. And neither one of us are doing it. And we both become two, like that son of a bitch should be in the Hall of Fame. Like he's not, it pisses me off, because how the hell do you not put Bam Bam Bigelow in the damn Hall of Fame? He should have been in 10 years ago, So hopefully, at least, at some point they're going to do it.
To me, he's a god in this country. I know if I say I'm from Asbury, everyone's like, "Ooh, Bam Bam Bigelow territory." Like that's the first name people think of when you think of Asbury Park, New Jersey. I love that.
Yeah, well, he always said he was from Asbury, even though he was from Neptune, because he really was an Asbury dude. I always used to say the Jersey Shore because I was all over the shore, and I really felt like it included everybody,
Teammate with Bam Bam Bigelow, what are your memories of?
Bam Bam was great. I mean, him and I kind of butted heads. We toured. When we formed the tag team, we became tag champs for Noki. We seemed to sense that, hey, we were good together, and we complimented each other, and we knew how to feed each other. So I think for that sake, we got along better. But for the most part, I don't think he liked me. And
he claims that he groomed you, and he claimed, well, he's passed away now, but he said this on a shoot interview, that you had redhead syndrome, what he described.
I don't know, but it's like I'm getting. What did Kill call me? How many different things? Gosh, I mean, I'm a flake. I'm this. I'm that. I'm a college-educated man, and someone said I was bipolar, and that's like, I'm actually thinking Vader's a real character, right? I mean, there's Leon, and then there's Vader, and. This is just crazy. So, from the dead, he's getting me. From beyond.
Well, the shoot interviews stay up forever. So
what did he die of? I mean,
it was heart related, I guess, from what I understand.
And look at with Bam Bam Bigelow, he also died. He died January 19th. I remember the date, 2007. He's the first Coco Samoa died January 9th, 2007. And then it was Bam Bam Bigelow, January 19th, 2007. And then it was Mike Awesome who hung himself. I think it was February 17th, 2007. So it was 3 right in a row.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. He died at 45 years old due to toxic levels of cocaine mixed with anti-anxiety drugs, benzodiazepines.
Well, it's all the same thing. Wrestling, the fans really need to understand this, and the fans is what make us go, and who pays us. And the fans need to know how tough of a business pro wrestling really is.
You brought up Bam Bam. What's a Bam Bam story?
Oh, dude, I loved working with him because he was so believable. But that guy, when I was working with him, he was like 460. When me and him worked like 10 weeks in a row. Me and him for a couple weeks, and then me, him, and Raven for like 7 more weeks. And we trashed the limousine. Oh, well, we trashed the limousine, and then somebody fucking they took money out of our paychecks to cover the limo. They split it between the 3 of us. We all 3 complained the next week, and they gave us the money.
This is ECW or WCW?
No, this is WCW.
WCW.
They didn't know we were going to do the fucking and dude, and Bammer goes to me because dude, he's been around longer than I have, you know, and a bigger star. Bammer knew, they didn't tell us not to. I'm like, thank you. Let's do it.
And you know what? We're gonna get some encyclopedias done. We could just do these in blue Sharpie. Let's go. This blue should still be flowing. I'm going to check, though. But everyone talks about Terry Funk, and, you know, Shane was a national star, right, for ECW. But Bam Bam brought a lot of extra credibility. He was a huge name, and coming into ECW. So let's not forget Bam Bam's contributions to ECW.
He carried fucking, the football player. Who was it?
Oh, Lawrence Taylor, WrestleMania main event. Yeah, yeah. Great match. Great match.
Yeah, dude. He was huge.
Yeah, I agree. Bam Bam's one of those people forget about when they talk about big men, how good Bam Bam was and how big of a star he was.
Man, I was so fortunate
Capo.
to work with him so much. We didn't work a lot in ECW at all because me and Shane didn't like each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Shane had his clique.
Okay.
You know what I mean? At my clique was me, Todd Gordon, Scorp, you know what I mean? Bub had his couple people, it's his clique. You know? And so, me and Shane didn't get along at all. Then, now we get along great.
Oh,
now
yeah.
we're older.
Bam Bam Bigelow, that was another one. The Bam Bam
You're
Bigelow.
not the only one that's had problems with him.
Oh, no?
Buffalo was also,
Really? I didn't know about the others.
Had problems with Bigelow as well.
Oh, really? Bam Bam Bigelow he's a loudmouth. He takes a lot. He takes a lot. Yeah, and he takes a lot of plates. He likes to take advantage of the guys that don't defend themselves.
Yes.
But he respects the guys that are tough.
Yeah, or the stars, right?
Yeah, or the stars. Yeah. So he's in the dressing room and Dink, the clown, the midget.
Yes.
Which was with Doink and Dink.
Who is from Montreal.
From Montreal, and he's a friend of mine. I wrestled with him I've been wrestling. He's still in my shows today. Dink is still in my shows today. He's a manager, and it's so funny. He entertains the kids. But anyway, long story short is we have a relationship for about 40 years in the business. Now it's 37 for me. So 37 years we've been together, and we've been up and down the roads together on the road. So anyway, he's in the dressing room, and they start picking on him. Like, you know, they start picking on him and giving him, and so Tiger Jackson, which is Dink, comes to see me, Tiger, and he says, Jacques, he says, I think I'm going to go home. He says, I think I'm going to quit. I said, well, why? He says, well, because they just put some juice all over my shoes. They wet my shoes when I was, you know, in the ring, and they keep playing with my stuff, my clothes, and I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore, and they keep bugging me, and they're laughing at me, and I said, who's doing that? He says, mostly Bam Bam Bigelow, it's him. So now I'm sitting here saying to myself, this is none of my business.
Right.
But I like Tiger.
Right.
And I don't think it's fair because I've been there. I've been through intimidation.
Yeah.
You know, so once you've been there, you don't like it to happen around you. It kind of comes and gets you deep inside of you because you feel sorry, especially for a midget.
Yeah.
So I go up one night, I come in the next night, I said, Tiger, let me work it out for you. So anyway, I got to this town with Carl, and I said, I came into the dressing room, I said, in front of all the boys, I said, hey, by the way, Bam Bam, I said, the next time you want to play a joke, I said, I want you to play it on me. I said, leave Tiger alone. He doesn't need that. Play it on me. So a lot of the boys, ooh, like another, trying to put some stirrups, and he looked at me like this, and he laughed, you know, and he was missing a teeth. He's laughing, and I looked at him. I said, "No, I'm serious, Bam Bam." I said, next time you feel like playing a joke, play it on me.
When we were talking to Jacques Rougeau, he told us a story that Bam Bam Bigelow was picking on you once.
Yeah.
He had to save you. Could you tell us
one time me go to my clothes. My clothes is up on the closet. Me can reach. Pull the glue on my zipper.
Oh, the zipper of your bag, so you can't open your bag.
Yeah. One time me tell Pat, is the guy too funny, me quick.
Yeah.
Me no need that, you understand? Puis là, Jacques come in, he tell, what's happened, Tiger? Me tell, too much bullshit. Me never bullshit the boys.
No one else was.
No.
Everyone else was treating you nicely. So I guess Jacques talked to him. And
yeah, he tell, don't pick on Tiger. Tiger never.
And that was the end of it.
Yeah, stop.